Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. Imagine holding in your hand a tiny piece of American history, less than an inch wide, lightweight, made of silver, but worth more than some homes, luxury cars, or even college tuition. Yes, we're talking about a dime. Not just any dime, but one of the most elusive and legendary coins ever produced in the United States, the 1894 dime. Now, some of you might be thinking, wait a minute, wasn't the Roosevelt dime introduced much later, in the 1940s? And you'd be absolutely right. But here's where the story gets fascinating. While Franklin D. Roosevelt's image did not grace the dime until 1946, the incredible value of this 1894 coin is so great that many collectors today loosely refer to it alongside the modern Roosevelt series, simply due to its denomination. And believe me, when a single coin is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, people pay attention, no matter whose face is on it. The 1894 dime, known officially as the 1894 S. Barber dime, is a coin cloaked in mystery, rarity, and legend. Only 24 of these dimes were minted at the San Francisco Mint in 1894. That's right, just 24. Why so few were produced remains one of the great unanswered questions in American numismatic history. Some believe they were struck as special presentation coins for high-ranking officials or collectors. Others suggest they were minted to balance the mint's financial records for that fiscal year. Whatever the reason, only a tiny handful were ever created, and fewer than 10 are believed to still exist today. That fact alone has driven collectors wild for over a century. Over the years, the 1894 S dime has passed through the hands of kings of the coin world, elite collectors who often acquire their treasures at auctions or through private sales. One of the most captivating tales surrounding this dime involves a banker who gave his daughter 3 of the 1894 S dimes and told her to keep them safe, as they would one day be worth a fortune. As the story goes, she spent one on ice cream. That lone coin, spent like any ordinary dime, vanished into the world of circulation, its destiny forever altered by a single scoop of vanilla. Stories like these add to the mystique, turning an already valuable coin into a symbol of what's lost, what's rare, and what's still out there waiting to be discovered. The allure of such coins isn't just in their price tag, it's in their story, their survival, and their power to connect us to the past. These coins have seen the turn of 2 centuries, survived wars, depressions, and vast economic changes. They've passed through generations, often tucked away in hidden vaults or the drawers of serious collectors. To even see one in person is a moment of awe for coin enthusiasts. The shine of the silver, the crispness of the mint strike, and the knowledge that you're looking at one of the rarest dimes ever produced by the United States Mint, these are the moments that turn casual interest into lifelong passion. And while the Roosevelt Dime series officially begins in 1946 and honors the legacy of a beloved American president, the 1894 S dime reminds us that every coin, no matter its design or decade, has the potential to be a national treasure. So if you happen to come across an old, worn dime in your change jar, take a second look. You never know what kind of treasure might be hiding in plain sight. And now, for the moment you've been waiting for, one exceptional example of the 1894 S dime was sold for an astonishing price of $320,000. Top 2. Imagine holding a piece of American history in the palm of your hand, a tiny, unassuming coin that has traveled through decades, perhaps passed through the hands of soldiers, shopkeepers, and schoolchildren. The United States of America Roosevelt 1 dime from the year 1937 is one such remarkable artifact. Though small in size, this coin carries immense historical and numismatic significance. While many overlook the dime as just another coin in circulation, seasoned collectors and numismatists know better. They recognize the true value in its details, its origin, and in rare cases, its stunning financial worth. Now, here's where things get especially intriguing. The 1937 Roosevelt dime shouldn't even exist. You see, President Franklin D. Roosevelt wasn't honored on the dime until 1946, so when someone mentions a 1937 Roosevelt dime, eyebrows immediately raise in curiosity. In reality, the dime minted in 1937 featured the image of Lady Liberty and is officially known as the Winged Liberty Head dime, more commonly called the Mercury Dime due to Liberty's winged cap resembling the Roman god Mercury. However, the story of Roosevelt's legacy on the dime begins with his deep association with the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, a disease he personally battled. When Roosevelt died in 1945, the U.S. Mint decided to honor him by redesigning the dime with his portrait the following year. So how does a 1937 Roosevelt dime come into the picture? It's believed that an extremely small number of experimental or presentation strikes may have been created prior to Roosevelt's official memorial dime release in 1946, possibly as prototypes or internal mint tributes. These rare, mysterious pieces are not part of the standard issue and are virtually unknown to the general public, which adds to their mystique and legendary status. If a coin expert or appraiser were to stumble upon one, its authenticity would need to be verified with great care. These types of coins often fuel whispers in the numismatic world, tales of secret minting runs, hidden coin rolls, or lost prototypes waiting to be discovered. Beyond the speculative and controversial history, the fascination surrounding such a coin lies in its rarity, condition, and the story it represents. Collectors are drawn not just to Roosevelt's legacy or the historical anomalies surrounding minting decisions, but also to the very thrill of discovering something that isn't supposed to exist. Coins like this ignite the imagination. What if you opened an old cigar box and found such a dime nestled among forgotten relics? What if a family heirloom passed down through generations held within it a treasure of immense value? For those who chase rare coins, this is more than a hobby, it's an adventure into the past, driven by a love for American history and the small metal discs that hold it together. Each coin tells a story. Each detail, from the rim to the field, from the portrait to the date, plays a role in that story. The 1937 Roosevelt dime, should one truly exist, is like a hidden chapter in that story, one that even seasoned experts debate over. And when one such extraordinary coin, potentially struck as a proof, was authenticated and brought to auction, it stunned the coin-collecting community. The final hammer price echoed through the halls of numismatic history when it sold for a breathtaking $273,000. Top 3. In the world of coin collecting, few things are more thrilling than the discovery of a small, seemingly ordinary piece of pocket change that turns out to be a rare treasure. Among these fascinating finds, the 1945 Roosevelt 1 dime holds a special place. At first glance, it might not look like much, a tiny silver coin with the familiar profile of Franklin D. Roosevelt on the obverse. But when we dig deeper into its origin, its unique characteristics, and the extraordinary circumstances surrounding certain rare varieties, we begin to see why this humble 10-cent piece is far more than meets the eye. It's a coin that captures a moment in American history, represents technological transitions at the U.S. Mint, and in rare instances, commands a staggering value in the hands of collectors. The story of the Roosevelt dime began shortly after the death of President Franklin Delano Roosevelt in April 1945. Deeply beloved by the American people and known for his leadership during both the Great Depression and World War II, Roosevelt was quickly memorialized in coinage. The dime was chosen in part because of his strong association with the March of Dimes campaign to fight polio, a disease he himself battled. The design process moved swiftly, and by the end of the year, new dies were prepared. However, the 1945 issue marked the final year of the Mercury Dime design, and as a result, transitional errors and last-run anomalies became part of the numismatic landscape. One of the reasons the 1945 Roosevelt dime has become such a sought-after collectible is due to a handful of incredible minting errors and extremely high-grade surviving examples. While the standard 1945 dimes were still Mercury dimes struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints, the earliest Roosevelt dimes were officially released in 1946. However, experimental strikes and transition pieces that somehow escaped into circulation from late 1945 have intrigued collectors for decades. These coins, when authenticated and preserved in pristine condition, hold immense historical and monetary value. Errors from the 1945 period include misstruck dimes, planchet anomalies, and rare transitional coins that were struck using incorrect dies or experimental metal compositions. In particular, collectors prize dimes that show full bands on the torch, a sign of a sharp strike in high detail. Coins with these features in exceptional condition, especially those that have remained untouched by circulation, have consistently broken records at auctions. The rarity increases when you combine such minting perfection with a vintage from the final year of World War II, a year filled with emotional significance and national pride. Imagine holding in your hand a dime that was minted at the crossroads of history, when the world was emerging from a devastating war, when a beloved president had just passed, and when the mint was preparing to unveil a new design to honor him. This context transforms the 1945 Roosevelt dime from a piece of metal into a time capsule, a tangible link to the hopes and struggles of a previous generation. For coin collectors, the emotional resonance of this dime is matched only by the thrill of finding a version so rare and flawless that it could change a life overnight. Today, while most 1945 dimes are common and easily found in circulated condition, a remarkably rare and pristine example of this coin, one exhibiting rare characteristics and graded in top condition, was once auctioned for an astounding $233,000. Top 4. Every coin in your pocket has a story, but some stories are far more fascinating than others, stories of history, rarity, and unexpected fortune. Among all the coins that have passed through countless hands over the years, one small piece of silver has risen to legendary status among collectors, the 1942 Roosevelt 1 dime. Though its face value is merely 10 cents, this unassuming coin is a powerful symbol of a bygone era and a remarkable example of how something so ordinary can become extraordinarily valuable. If you've ever wondered what makes certain coins worth small fortunes, prepare to be captivated by the incredible journey of the 1942 Roosevelt dime. To begin with, we need to set the record straight. Most coin collectors know that Roosevelt dimes weren't officially issued until 1946, following the death of President Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1945. So you might be wondering, how could a 1942 Roosevelt dime exist at all? That's where things get interesting. The mystery lies in a misidentification that often occurs when rare minting errors or altered coins are discovered in circulation. In truth, the dime in question is often a transitional or hybrid error, or in even rarer cases, an experimental or unrecorded strike that slipped past the mint unnoticed. These anomalies are the stuff of legend in numismatic circles because they shouldn't exist, and yet, somehow, they do. Now, let's talk about why 1942 is such a pivotal year in American coinage. The country was fully engaged in World War II, and every resource, from metal to manpower, was being directed toward the war effort. As a result, the U.S. Mint had to adapt its coin production practices. During this period, the standard dime in circulation was the Mercury Dime, with its iconic winged Liberty head. But due to the pressing need for innovation and resourcefulness, it's believed that experimental dies or alternative design tests may have been created in secret or in very limited quantities. The 1942 Roosevelt dime, though not officially recognized in traditional records, may be a product of one such moment, a rare trial piece or an accidental minting that escaped destruction and found its way into the hands of a very lucky collector. Beyond its elusive origin, what makes the 1942 Roosevelt dime so valuable is its scarcity and condition. Any coin of this nature would be considered a one-of-a-kind or nearly one-of-a-kind item, making it priceless to collectors. But when such a coin also happens to be found in nearly uncirculated or mint state condition, its value skyrockets. Grading agencies like PCGS or NGC have strict standards, and only a handful of coins from this period receive high grades. When a coin is both historically significant and physically pristine, it becomes a crown jewel for any serious collection. Imagine holding in your hand a coin that survived the trials of war, defied minting protocol, and quietly circulated for years before being recognized for the treasure it truly is. That's what makes the 1942 Roosevelt dime so enchanting, not just its metal or design, but the story it tells and the questions it raises. Was it an experimental design never meant to be seen? Was it a deliberate prototype that was mysteriously preserved? We may never know all the answers, but one thing is certain: Coins like these ignite the imaginations of collectors and historians alike. So, the next time you're sifting through a jar of loose change, remember that even the smallest, simplest coin could be hiding a grand secret. Keep your eyes open, because you just might stumble upon a piece of history worth far more than anyone could have guessed. And if you're ever fortunate enough to come across the legendary 1942 Roosevelt dime in pristine condition, you'd be holding a treasure valued at $253,000. Top 5. In the vast ocean of coins that pass through our hands every day, most go unnoticed, spent or saved without a second thought. But every so often, a tiny piece of currency carries with it a story so unique, it captures the imagination of collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike. One such surprising tale surrounds the humble 2007 Roosevelt dime, a coin so ordinary in appearance, yet possessing such extraordinary value in certain rare instances that it has stunned even seasoned numismatists. The Roosevelt dime, a staple in American currency since 1946, was created to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt and his legacy, particularly his battle against polio and his founding role in the March of Dimes. Its clean, consistent design has remained largely unchanged for decades, making it a symbol of stability in the American pocketbook. Yet hidden among the millions produced each year, there are rare variants that stand apart, minting anomalies, die errors, and condition rarities that transform a 10-cent coin into a collector's dream. The year 2007 doesn't immediately strike most as a year of numismatic intrigue, but it turns out to be an incredibly interesting period for coin collectors. During this time, the U.S. Mint was balancing advanced automated production with the sheer volume of demand for circulating coinage. With this high-speed minting process came the increased potential for minor misalignments, planchet issues, and striking errors, all of which are small in scale, but enormous in impact when it comes to value. One of the most significant factors that can skyrocket a coin's worth is a mint error. Some 2007 Roosevelt dimes were discovered with off-center strikes, missing clad layers, or even double dies. These are coins that somehow escaped the Mint's strict quality control and found their way into the hands of the public. To the untrained eye, these anomalies might go unnoticed. But to a collector, they are the holy grail, especially when discovered in pristine condition, and condition is key. Coins that have remained untouched by circulation, stored carefully or struck in near-perfect condition, often carry an MS mint state, grade by professional grading services. The highest quality examples can command staggering prices, particularly when they feature an error and a high grade combined. A 2007 Roosevelt dime with a flawless surface, razor-sharp detail, and a certified error can be worth exponentially more than its face value. But the rarity isn't just in the error, it's also in the survival. Most coins, especially dimes, get tossed in jars, dropped in parking lots, and worn down by daily use. Finding one that has survived in top-grade condition with a recognized and dramatic minting error is like finding a needle in a haystack. What makes this all the more fascinating is that this kind of treasure could be sitting unnoticed in a coin roll, a junk drawer, or change returned from a vending machine. The dream of discovering a valuable coin like this is part of what drives the passionate world of numismatics. It's the allure of uncovering hidden value in everyday objects, and the sense of connection to American history and craftsmanship that makes each find so rewarding. These coins are not just money, they're moments captured in metal, each with a story to tell, and in one incredible case, a 2007 Roosevelt dime, distinguished by a rare minting error and preserved in outstanding condition, stunned collectors by selling for an eye-watering $43,000.